Hello, I'd like to talk about why Segwit2X hardfork is not the answer to Bitcoin's scaling problem. So let's get started. What's all this about? You've been hearing about Bitcoin scaling issues. You've been hearing about Segwit2X, hardfork, up and down. What does this really mean? Does Bitcoin really have a problem? Let's let's check that for a moment. So Bitcoin today, how Bitcoin works is this: when you make a transaction, your transaction gets sent to a miner who compiles your transaction and some other transactions into something called a block. That block is what will be written onto the ledger, onto the blockchain itself. The blockchain is the technology on which Bitcoin runs. So, and your transaction is not confirmed until when a miner has written your transaction to the blockchain, right? So confirm means your transaction is not 100% okay. So it can still be reversed, it can still be denied until you have that check and that yes, my transaction has been confirmed. So these days, confirmation of transaction takes a lot hours, right? It takes a long time to happen. And also the fee that you pay to do a Bitcoin transaction is now very high. Like you pay like $7 in some cases just to make a transaction, right? So, but how did this all happen? What happened? Why is this the case? It's because each miner can only write 1 MB blocks to the blockchain at once, right? So, assuming miners can write more data to the blockchain at once, it means they'll be able to serve more transactions at a time. Because right now, even if they have a backlog of like 1 million transactions to process, they can only take them 1 MB by 1 MB by 1 MB. You get 1 MB size because the size of the block that they can write at once is 1 MB. So that is the problem, and that is why, because there are so many transactions to process, right? That means there's much more demand for processing power of, so that means the price of the fee that the miners can charge will go up. Law of demand and supply, right? So which makes sense, which causes the problem that Bitcoin cannot be used as a medium of payment, and right, for people can, for example, want to send $3 to some other Bitcoin address, the fee will be as high as $7. So why would I use Bitcoin when Bitcoin is even much more costlier than some other ways of transferring money? So that's why some people came up with something called Segwit2X. So if you ask, what is Segwit2X? Segwit2X is a scaling proposal for Bitcoin block size. It means they want to increase the size of Bitcoin block. So yes, that makes sense, right? That is just what I just explained, right? Right. That miners would be able to write more transactions at once to the blockchain. That, in a layman's mind, in layman's language, that should be able to help our case. But this proposal is being opposed by Bitcoin core developers. Bitcoin core developers are the people that daily work on building Bitcoin. They're the ones that write the code of Bitcoin, so the one that everybody uses, right? So they are pretty important people. And when they say that this is not the way to go, that's what they're saying right now. So another thing with Segwit2X is that it's going to be an art fork. Art fork means we are going to try to make a coup and make this thing is like forcibly making Bitcoin adopt this Segwit2X standard. So what's in Segwit2X? Segwit2X proposed that they should increase the block size to 2 MB. So now let me tell you why I think on my own personal end this is not the solution at all. So one, the first thing is that it is not a technical solution. So the problem, we know what the problem is. We identify the problem. The problem is that miners can't add enough transaction at once to the blockchain, right? But the question is, should miners be adding down all transactions on blockchain in the first place? The solution that Segwit2X proposes is that we should add more resources, right? We should scale up, just add more resources to solve the problem. It's like we're fighting off one big giant problem. It's just like when you're coding and then maybe you have scaling issues on your website, the web server is down. The very easy solution is just to add more resources, buy up more RAM, buy up more server space, buy up more bandwidth. That is what Segwit2X is proposing, which isn't really surprising because the people that are proposing Segwit2X are mostly startup owners, business people, really non-technical people. Of course, there are lot of technical people on that side too, but they are not. You can't find any of the core developers really that understand the way the way they want to carry the way they want to progress Bitcoin. You can't find them supporting Segwit2X, which is because scaling up, which is increasing block size, is simply not the solution to Bitcoin scaling issue. There have been so many other things that have been proposed, and we'll come to them later. But just know that increasing block size is bad, right? Let's do a simple parallel of what this means. In the US, there's something called the depth limit, right? The depth limit is how much the federal government of the United States is allowed to borrow over in a year period or thereabout. So, and before it was, I don't know, it was at a particular price, right, a long time ago. But then an act of Congress allowed them to increase it further, and since they increased it, they've been increasing it after that. Like now, it's so easy. Now Trump is even in trying to get them to increase the debt ceiling again. It means that once something has been activated once, like from history, once something like debt ceiling or maybe Bitcoin block size has been increased once, it means once again, once we reach a snag again, once more people try to come on the blockchain network and start trying to transact, once the number of transactions increase on Bitcoin network, we also start experiencing the same issues once again. And then the solution this kind of people bring again is that, oh, why not just increase the block size again? So we just keep increasing block size over and over and again every year without actually solving the problem, right? So it's a slippery slope. This very slippery slope that we don't want to get into, because once you increase it once, you just keep increasing. And why is increasing block size? Why is it a bad thing? Is this such a bad idea? Yes, it is, because the reason for block Bitcoin is like Bitcoin is premised on the idea of decentralization. It means that the node, the Bitcoin node, can be like, it means that the old Bitcoin network can just be set up by any Tom, Dick, and Harry on their own computer, and then they can verify that yes, this Bitcoin network is still right. It means you and I can can play the role of verifiers of Bitcoin network. It means that, and the more verifiers on Bitcoin network there are, the better it is for the network. It means the network is secure, the network is working as well as it is designed, right? So, but now, right now, I can set up a simple Bitcoin node, because I don't know, it will take probably 250 gigabytes. I can probably download that, right? So, but once once the block size is increased, right? It means that only people that have money, real money, to be able to set up, buy bigger hardware, to buy bigger bandwidth, will be able to set up Bitcoin nodes. So it means that, and is this a political thing? So wherever people that can set up Bitcoin nodes have more power, more say on the direction on which Bitcoin should go, and they can verify. In fact, mining too, people, because once you increase the Bitcoin block size, it means that mining too will become much more costly to do. So it means that for you to start a Bitcoin mining operation again, you'd have to have, like, let's say, times two capital than you would use today. So we do not necessarily want to increase block size for that, because we want more miners, we want more nodes, because more nodes, more miners reduce probability of a 51% attack, right? Because if you have 1 million people verifying a network, it's harder to target 1 million people verifying a network than if now it's only 1,000 people that have enough money to be verifying the network. Because that's what's going to happen once we start increasing the block size. Only big players will be able to have enough capital to even start verifying all our transactions. You get? And so those smaller percentage of miners will now be able to, we have now autonomy to set whatever fees, financial fees that they want. Anyways, so the last reason why it isn't the solution is why Segwit2X should not be accepted, because there's actually an alternate solution that has been proposed by Bitcoin core developers. These are people that build Bitcoin daily, and after Satoshi Nakamoto, obviously. So the people that contribute to Bitcoin's code, they've actually proposed a solution. And what is that solution? That solution is something called the Lightning Network. So what most people that support Segwit2X today have actually not read that Lightning Network proposal. They haven't read it. Okay, so they don't know what's in the proposal. They just know it's experimental. When you talk to them, go on Reddit, go on Twitter, go and try talking to them. They don't really understand what Lightning Network is. Lightning Network was basically what it just says is that instead of, the problem right now is that, so the problem, of course we've talked about problem. Problem is that the miners cannot write enough blockchain at once, enough transaction at once to the blockchain. So what Lightning Network proposed and just says, hold on a bit, you do not have to write all the transactions to the blockchain. Come on, there's they propose a solution where there can be a true peer-to-peer transaction between two parties. For example, you have party A and party B that want to transfer Bitcoin between each other. They can do peer-to-peer transfer between each other without writing that transaction onto the blockchain yet. So, I don't want to go deep into Lightning Network right now. I'm going to make another video on the Lightning Network protocols, but basically what it says is that transactions should not, like, every single transaction should not be written to the blockchain. In fact, that provides us with new opportunities. It means that we can have like millions of transactions per second that will just instantaneously go through. So it's like peer to peer. You and your friend can send Bitcoin peer to peer using cryptography techniques, and then at the end of the day, you can now come on the network and say, "Hey, I and my friend have done like 10 million transactions, right? Now write it to the blockchain." So it will now be just one transaction that you are writing to the blockchain instead of 10 million transactions. So the blockchain itself will now be smaller in size than if you had to write like that, those 10 million transactions. So what are the benefits that we gain from Lightning networks? It means that, for example, in the future, IoT, when you have like Internet of Things, right? That need to communicate to each other, like small devices that need to transact, let's say billions of times between each other. They will do this because they are not even dependent on mining. They're miners to approve their transactions. They are not dependent on writing to the blockchain. Yet they will just perform instantaneous transactions. Don't worry, just look forward to my Lightning Network video. I'll make a Lightning Network video that will explain protocol of this, and you'll see why this is the exact solution to use instead of just increasing the block size of Bitcoin and then going to way big proportions of the network. So thank